What's going on?
It's great enthusiasm.
We're having
Sunday.
a morning over here.
Happy
what
Sunday.
about y'all?
Welcome to
You having a
Sojourn
morning?
Grace Collective. I'm Colby. This is Kate. We're the co-pastors
Kate, Colby,
of this gorgeous community
Sojourn,
of
Ben, Karen,
progressive faith.
Matthew.
And I hope the sound is on it. I'm not entirely sure.
Who knows?
Can people hear us?
Who knows? Y'all tell us. Are we just miming at the...
I don't know. That looks on. That looks on.
Are we miming at you?
Are
or
we
do you
on?
Hear us?
Okay.
Oh,
Normally you
sweet.
tell us by now if you're not. So.
Sweet. We love you all. We're happy that you're here.
Why are some Sundays
like
harder than others?
I don't know, y'all.
It's not all that different than how it normally is, and yet here we are.
Here we are. Well, we had a big Christmas production this week.
We did have a big,
Which if you missed that, you should go back and watch.
def.
And Christmas is almost here. And so,
Is
you
the
know,
goose
just
getting
cut
fat?
yourself some slack. We're,
Okay.
Is
All right.
what?
Is the goose getting fat?
Goose getting fat. Is that a saying?
Christmas is coming, the goose is getting fat. Please do put a penny in the old man's hat. If you haven't got the penny.
A half penny will do.
I thought I was going to say hey, a hay penny?
Hey, penny.
Short for half penny?
Happening. Y'all, we got Scott Erickson in the house today. We're going to light the fourth. Colby's okay. We're going to light the fourth Advent candle. It's going to be a beautiful morning. We love you. We're glad you're here.
Music, if you want to get lyrics, you can go to sojourngrace.com/virtual and grab yourself the lyrics for this morning's songs. And this is great. We're so glad you're here. Welcome to Sojourn.
Everything's going so well. But that's okay.
Darling, 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 darling. So it's been a long year. Every new day it brings one more tear till there's nothing left to cry. My, how time flies. Like little children hiding their eyes will make it disappear. Let's start a brand new year. Darling, Christmas is coming. Listen to the silver bells ringing. Darling, Christmas is coming. Do you believe in angels singing? Darling, the snow is falling, falling like forgiveness from the sky. If I could have anything, what would I want this new year to bring? Well, I'd want you here with me. Tear these thorns from my heart. Help the healing to start. Let's set this whole world free. Let's start with you and me. Darling, Christmas is coming. Listen to the silver bells ringing. Darling, Christmas is coming. Do you believe in angels singing? Darling, the snow is falling, falling like forgiveness from the sky. So it's been a long year. Every new day just brings one more tear till there's nothing left to cry. Darling, Christmas is coming. Listen to the silver bells ringing. Darling, Christmas is coming. Do you believe in angels singing? Darling, the snow is falling, falling like forgiveness from the sky. Yeah. Darling, darling.
Wesley, and I'm going to light the fourth Advent candle. Joy to the world it all belongs. The dark night and the bright morning, the achy longing and the restful calm, the young and the old, every color, every heart, every beat. From the shooting star to the fallen leaf, rainbows and cemeteries, every living thing, for past, present, and future, all our hopes and all our regrets, it all belongs. Joy is the table of belonging. Joy is the place where we meet. Joy because we are not strangers. Joy because we belong to each other. Joy because we are loved. And joy because God is with us. And joy because the story isn't over yet. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Wesley, why do you suddenly look and sound like you're 18? What happened? Stop that. You're small. Stay there. I used to avoid this song because it's real mansplaining and annoying. But it's beautiful, and thank God. I don't know when, several years ago, a woman took the time to rewrite the lyrics to this and turn it into something really beautiful. And now we can sing it. Mary, did you know that your ancient words would still leap off our pages? Mary, did you know that your spirit song would echo through the ages? Did you know that your holy cry would be a subversive word, that the tyrants would be trembling when they know your truth is heard? Mary, did you know that your lullaby would stir your own child's passion? Mary, did you know that your song inspires the work of liberation? Did you know that your jubilee is hope within the hearts of all who dream of justice, who yearn for it to start?
Truth will teach, the drum will sound, healing for the pain. The poor will rise, the empires fall, and hope will live again.
Mary, did you know? Mary, did you know that we hear your voice as healing for the nations? Mary, did you know your unsettling cry can help renew creation? Did you know that we need your faith, the confidence of you? May the God that you believed in be so true.
almost like we've never done this before.
Are we cute at least?
Hi.
Are we real cute?
Hello.
I don't know, y'all. What?
Can you hear me now? So I split my lip trying to change the cat litter this morning, and it's all been downhill
from there.
since then. So here we are.
I also climbed onto my roof to get down a rocket for a child this morning. I didn't die, so that should have set our morning. That should have balanced your lip splitting, and we should have found some
You can
equilibrium.
do incredible things without injury.
Okay, anyway, as I was saying, but you couldn't hear because no mics, it's that time where we all get to connect in the comments. We'll pull out a random card or 2 or 3 from this box. I always reserve the right to throw them, and we'll see what happens. Nope. That was last week. See, I have a great system. All right. What technology do you wish existed? That's an interesting question for 2020.
That's a really interesting. Do you feel like you're lacking in technology?
Nope.
Me neither. Transporters, like teleportation devices? Is that what you mean?
Teleportation devices. Is that what people are saying? I also forgot to bring my phone up here, so I'm not even looking at comments.
Yep.
Just, y'all, what is today?
Teleporting. I'm still really troubled by the basic premise of teleportation. Like, what happens to my body between here and there?
Well, in the Harry Potter books, it sounds like you go through hell. Everybody wants to be teleported?
Do I just
Everybody
go
wants to be
really
teleported.
fast, or do I like dissolve and then have to be reassembled at the location?
Dissolving?
I don't like that. I don't want I don't want to caterpillar my way from place to place and like have to
Because
turn
what
into
if you
goo.
reappear and your ear is on your knee and your knee is on
It just
your
feels
back?
it feels like a lot could go wrong. So much could possibly go wrong. Look what happened to Mike TV and
Oh, yeah, that was...
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Not great.
That was that. That was the molecules, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. What did Amanda say that's amazing? I see... the
Lego.
response to her. Oh, Lego vacuum that separates by size and color. Yep, I want that technology.
That's the one.
That's the one.
Thank you.
We found it. The
You all can
technology.
teleport. We'll just vacuum Legos. That'll be
Hashtag
great.
that mom life.
Oh
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
I tend to want less technology overall in life.
Yep.
Like I tend to get really frustrated when things go from not being technologically driven to being run by technology. I rebel against that hard. So this is a hard question for me.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
what is the thing that I want?
Except for Bill Pitts, I think it was, just said, full self-driving
Yes.
cars.
Oh, yes.
That I want.
Good.
Yeah.
And also I want the thing that comes with that, where my car then at night, after I park it and go to sleep, it takes itself to get gas and to get washed and to get its oil changed and then just comes back and parks. Won't that be nice?
That would be real nice.
Yes. Great. Ben saying he wants all of the wires
No more
to go away.
wires.
He just wants
Just
wireless
go away wires.
keyboards.
Yeah, why do
and-
we still have wires?
That's true. Wires are really overrated. Yeah. Ooh, and the car that Susan says the car that folds up into a briefcase, like on the Jetsons.
I feel like there's always things when I walk around my house during the day that I say I want, but then when we sit here and have a conversation about it, I don't know, I can't think of anything.
Steven says laundry technology from
Oh,
start, like dirty
yeah.
hamper to finish. Mm-hmm. Let's
Anything
do that.
that makes it so I don't have to do laundry.
Yep. Self-cleaning kitchen. Now we're talking. I suddenly am a believer.
Maybe we do want more
All of the
technology,
things
Karen.
that do the cleaning
Maybe we actually
and the
want a lot
chores,
of new
we want that.
technology.
We do. We do. You have convinced us.
Yeah, that's what it is. The whole world of 1950s housewifey stuff, like that should just be a technology. That
Yeah.
should just be a thing. Like, and don't do the Alexa thing where you make it a woman again. Like we don't
No.
want that. We just want a box.
Yeah.
That cleans the house, does the grocery shopping.
And why is there so much attention to like being able to control the lights with my phone? Why? That's great, but like I wasn't feeling super burdened by light switches. So could we reinvest whatever energy we're putting into making this technology? If we could throw that at Steven's laundry idea, like that would be great.
Yep.
Okay, good. I'm
Yep.
glad we had this talk.
We figured this
Someone
out. I'm
send
glad we
this
had
to
this talk.
someone who's in charge.
Oh my gosh.
Do you have another one, or are we going to keep going? Oh, it got quiet. I get very nervous when it gets quiet. I don't know what to do.
Nope. Sorry. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what that is. If you could send a message to the entire world, good news, you can if you want to, I think. What would you say in 30 seconds? This is a weird
No
question.
pressure.
I kind of feel like I should throw this one, but whatever. What's your message to the world, folks? 30 seconds. Do you have a message you want to give to the world in 30 seconds? You do it every day on the internet.
Be brave.
Because you're a child of God.
Be kind.
Because so is everyone else. Colby's very pleased with us right now.
I feel like I feel like there's very little advice or like messaging even or thing that I would say that I feel is equally applicable to everyone in the world.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
what am I going to say that is the thing that everybody needs to hear?
Yeah.
Except for like, oh, you know what I would say? I would say endure.
Except for I just figured it out.
I figured it out. Endure the first season and a half, 2 seasons of Schitt's Creek because it's worth it. When you get to season 3, 4, universally 100%
This is what you
return on
decided
investment.
is
This is what I would
applicable
say.
to everyone in the world.
Everyone in the world.
This
Yep.
is what she's decided is
That is my
applicable to
decision, and I
everyone in the world.
stand by it.
I love you. I don't know, you guys. Do you have messages for the world? Because clearly we don't. Oh.
Wear a mask, be kind, love. That's Stevens. It's good. It's very good. Be kind, love one another. These are excellent. Bill Pitt says Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Yippee-ki-yay.
I like it. I like
It's-
those kinds of.
it's not
Watch
your
Schitt's
fault.
Creek and Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
That's nice. Love more, judge less, breathe deep. That's Michelle. I like that. Breathe is a great one. Everyone should breathe.
That is applicable to
Yeah.
all the world. Get therapy. That's. I wish that was applicable to all the world, right? Or available to all
Right.
the world. Ben had yelled "get therapy" from the back, in case you were wondering what I was responding to.
Lilia says, love all, trust a few, do wrong to none.
Nice, and it's a Shakespeare quote.
Yep,
It looks
that's
like.
nice.
I like that one. Jazz, yes, this is a nightmare for Enneagram 4s. Yes, it is.
Truly.
All right, I like you guys. Stay positive. I don't know.
Die Hard is a Hanukkah movie.
Wesley yelling, "No war, no fighting, just peace." I agree.
I think Die
I don't
Hard is a
know, y'all.
Labor Day
I
movie.
think that card was unfair. Should we do one more? 'Cause
One
that
more.
card sucked.
That was a lot. It's too much for the morning where I couldn't change the cat litter. It's too much. Right, thank you. Why?
I'm with you, Jazz.
I would like to give that platform to someone else.
Someone else.
Like I feel like Oprah could handle it.
Addie, baby, I love you so much. I'm gonna cry.
Addie's is the best one. Can we just say that Addie's is
Addie
great.
wins.
Yep.
Addie wins. I love the world so much. If it moved, I would move to where it went. Can we end church right now? Because church just happened with Addie's comment. That was church.
A full-fledged moment from that, actually.
Yep.
That was really lovely. Okay, we're fine. This is what happens when you get us doing this.
Yeah. Let's have Karen and Kate do the collective
it
conversation.
goes here real fast.
We'll just sit here and cry.
Okay, one more.
Okay.
Then we can
I
come
was
back.
going to, but then Addie said that, and I just don't think we can come back
You made it
from
really
that.
nice. Addie, well done. You made 2 grown women cry.
Okay.
Okay, what do you got?
Okay, so I have this favorite saying. It's, I disagree with the question. And we're about to have me say that. What's your guilty pleasure? I disagree with the question.
Don't feel guilt about feeling pleasure. Is that where we're going?
Yes.
Yeah, you should.
What's your pleasure?
You should just enjoy
I
your
like that
pleasure.
question though. What's
Yeah.
your pleasure? What's your pleasure that let's switch out guilty and let's do what's a word, Karen, word girl, what's a word for like I don't know, like kind of mundane, but like mundane isn't the word I'm looking for. You know what I mean?
No,
like
I know
you're,
what you mean.
like
Like
not
your
simple, not
superfluous
mundane, but
pleasure. Your
Sur-
like your
yes.
extra. That's not right either. But like your
Protidian. Matthew just said the question should be what's your
never use a big
protidian?
word where a diminutive word will suffice. Your superficial pleasure. Your not necessary, but your extracurricular pleasure. Your
Yes. You're unnecessary, superficial. Maybe you're a little bit embarrassed about it, but you
Yeah.
certainly don't feel guilty.
thing that you like that you don't need, but it's still fun.
Go.
I watched a whole season of Survivor yesterday.
What's your secret pleasure? Well, yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
Secret's good.
Although, there are children, so be careful.
Keep it family friendly. Which around here can mean a lot of things, so I don't know, have fun.
your little extra thing that you like.
Ooh, I like Amanda Wallace Hallmark movies with a Heath bar and flaming hot Cheetos and a hot toddy. Yeah. Can I come over? I know the answer is no, I can't right now, but can I someday?
Grey's Anatomy. Me too. I'm in a ridiculous long-term relationship with Grey's Anatomy. We fight for whole seasons. We come back, and here we are, still here. Sunshine. Yeah, Sunshine's kind of a necessary one for
Puppies and chocolate cake.
puppies.
Yeah, what's your indulgence? Thank you, Alyssa. What's your indulgence? What's your...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mama Martin says Michael Bolton love songs. That's a great answer.
Love it. Sea salt caramels and taking time for yourself. Love that, Melanie. Napping with the puppy. Love it. And then Amanda added Taco Bell to all that goodness.
Yeah.
Yep. Couch time.
Yep. Yep, I like that too.
I love you guys.
Wine and Gilmore Girls to go to sleep. That's my kind of night. 100%.
Ooh, Robert, your wife takes you to Starbucks and doesn't tell you what she's ordered for you. Like surprise Starbucks is your pleasure? That sounds amazing.
I love that.
Don't you kind of like that a lot?
So much.
We should start doing that when we do our Starbucks
Yeah.
runs. Like each order something separately for the other person and then be like, here. this is
Thank
what I
you.
got
You've
for you."
just changed our lives.
We're going to start doing
You've
this.
added
Thank
a
you,
layer
Michelle
of
Nickel.
levity
yeah,
to our days. Pokemon got a shout out here. Collecting Harry Potter
Wine and
things.
Gilmore Girls.
I'm sorry,
Yes, yes,
Tito. Do you
yes.
have a puppy? I'm sorry. This is.
Okay,
Do you have a puppy?
look
What?
at Tito's puppy.
Dobby does he have a baby puppy named Dobby?
Yes.
Because like that's my guilty pleasure now is Tito's puppy.
Yes. Oh,
Like, I
where'd he go?
can't.
Oh, Dobby, come on.
It's
come
not
back on the
happening?
screen. Look at
Okay.
this, you're going to die.
Oh my god. You guys.
Dobby.
Everyone make Tito send you pictures of his puppy right now. It's really important.
Dobby.
Okay, well Dobby is now my
Dobby's our
guilty
pleasure.
That's it. Done.
We
Solved.
love you all.
We do.
Oh, that's right. We're doing another song.
Do I have to just go? There's no I just awkwardly
There's-
go.
Well, it's that time of year when we sing songs in French.
Yay.
For you, Vicky Arteaga. I don't know why I had struggled with your last name so hard there. It's because it's not in French.
We sing songs in French for Vicky?
Yeah, particularly for Vicky. Yeah, did you know Vicky is trilingual? Is it just trilingual, Vicky? Do you speak more than three languages?
That doesn't surprise me at all. Vicky's amazing.
If you also speak French, let us know in the comments.
It's for you too.
And if you don't, you can find the lyrics, right?
Yeah.
On the website. Un flambeau, jeunesse Isabelle. Un flambeau, courons au berceau. C'est Jésus, bon Jean de amour, le Christ est né. Marie appelle que la mer est belle, que l'enfant est beau. Bring a torch, Jeanette Isabella. Bring a torch, come swiftly and run. Christ is born, tell the folk of the village. Jesus is sleeping in his cradle. Hush, hush, beautiful is the mother. Hush, hush, beautiful is her child. Un flambeau, Jeanette Isabelle. Un flambeau, courons au berceau. C'est Jésus, bon Jean de amour, le Christ est né. Marie appelle que la mer est belle, que l'enfant est beau. Hasten now, good folk of the village, hasten hasten now the Christ child to see. You will find him asleep in the manger. Quietly come and whisper softly, hush, hush. Peacefully now he slumbers, hush, hush. Peacefully now he sleeps.
I love hearing you sing that song, Matthew. I'm going to invite you all to take a deep breath in with me for just a moment. And out. If you're anything like me, then sometimes just that brief moment of paying attention to your breath is enough to bring you back into this moment. And I can go days without noticing my breath. I can go days without noticing the moment. I can go days with being so wrapped up in what was or what might be that I forget what is happening here and now. And so this is the power of the breath. This is the power of, you might call it the animating life force of the divine. Spirit, breath. In the Bible, this is often an interchangeable word. And so when we take a deep breath in together and out, we are participating, you might say, with the ongoing movement of the energy of God. Another thing for me that brings me into the moment, that brings me into a participation with the divine, is through the medium of art, through the medium of something that pulls us out of sort of what is and casts us into the world of what could be. And I would say that one of my top artists of all time is a young man. I say young because he's young in heart. It's a young man named Scott Erickson. And Scott and I became friends. About a decade ago, and we've traveled the world together. We've gone to Liberia, East Africa together. And even though we have lived in different states our entire lives, I feel this close kinship to him. And Scott recently put out a book called Honest Advent. And Scott is a dear friend of Kate and mine, and Karen knows him also from a previous life. And so we wanted to bring Scott in today. So I'm going to see if I can bring Scott in with this button here. Scott, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hi. And I can see
And
you.
I was laughing so hard. First at the compliment for being your favorite artist, one of your favorite artists, and then on
you're in the top 7.
and then the young man comment.
Man.
That's great.
Yes. Yes. It's good to see you, buddy. Welcome to
You
Sojourn
too.
Grace. You've actually been
Thank you.
with our community a couple times over the years.
Yeah.
Most recently, before the world shut down, you came out and did one of your one-man shows. What was that? That was it Say Yes? Was that the one you did most
Say Yes.
recently with us?
Yeah.
And now, because of all things quarantine and the world that we're living in, we couldn't bring you out like we would have liked to. But we thought, hey, you have a computer, you have a camera, you have internet.
I have the
We
internet.
almost missed each other because you're in a different time zone, and none of us were aware. By the way, did you guys know that the western part of Florida is not Eastern time zone? Yeah, neither did any of us until about an hour ago.
Neither did I. And then Cole was texting me like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "I'm finishing up lunch. Don't I have an hour?" Nope.
Oh, so fun. So I say that only because in an ideal world, which obviously none of us live in, friends, in an ideal world, we would have tested all the internet and the audio and everything. This is actually the first time we've been able to see and hear Scott for the morning. So on the slight chance that something happens weird with anything tech, friends, I'll take Scott off the screen. We'll do something inspiring and wonderful, and then we'll bring Scott back. So just hang with us.
I like
But without any,
weird with Scott has a lot of definitions. But
that's
yeah,
true.
it's good. Got
you,
it.
you say something we don't like, and we just take you off. Well, I don't know what
Yeah,
happened.
take you off.
Scott's just gone. The
It just got
internet
weird.
just decided.
It's done.
So, friends, without any more ado than I've already done, I'd like to now hand it over to our dear friend Scott Erickson. Scott, thanks for being with us this morning.
Yes, thank you. I'm so glad to be with you all, virtually and screens and all of that jazz. Yeah, I did come out with a book, this Honest Advent, and I just want to share a few thoughts from it, and just kind of expound upon where we find ourselves. One of my favorite chapters, and it's actually the cover, and you can see this image of Mary, newly pregnant, but kind of on this contemplative journey. And and the way this chapter goes is just called assumptions. There's a lot of assumptions about Christmas. It's assumed that Mary rode on a donkey, but it actually doesn't say anywhere that she did. It's assumed that there was an innkeeper, but it doesn't mention one in the Bible. It's assumed there were 3 Magi, but it doesn't give a specific number. It's assumed that there was a star overhead when Jesus was born, but it doesn't say that either. It's assumed that Jesus was born in a stable, but all it says is he was laid in a manger, and that could have been any number of places. There are a lot of assumptions about Christmas, and some are helpful and some are not so helpful. And if we think about assumptions are really just limited conclusions. You are only given a little bit of information, and then our calculating and storytelling mind is trying to fill in the pieces to make sense of something. And so in Christmas, we only have a very little bit of scripture. There's only maybe a few passages that maybe equal like 3 chapters about the story. And so with tradition and art and low budget pageants that have happened over time, we've kind of made a lot of assumptions about how the story goes. Spirituality also comes with a lot of assumptions. And those are assumptions about who this happens to. What does this do for you? And what is this going to make your life look like? And you maybe have come across some of these assumptions. There's a few of them, like you should be more than you are now to be pleasing to God. Your weaknesses are a way of God's plan for your life. Your lack of religious excitement is a disqualifier for divine participation. You're probably not doing it right. And other spiritual people have something you don't have. We can come up with limited conclusions about ourselves because we're very aware about ourselves. And the good news is that the antidote to assumptions is surprise. And those surprises, just like in Mary's day, are happening in our day, in our limited resources, our unlit night sky, our humble surroundings. There is this passage in the incarnation story in Luke, where we get most of the story fleshed out, where we've heard it before. Maybe it's overlooked a little bit, but I think there's a couple statements that really I find give me a lot of peace during this time. So this angel is appearing to Mary, and this angel saying, "You're gonna have the Holy Spirit's gonna come upon you, and the power of God is gonna overshadow you." A lot of mystery there, and you will become pregnant, and that child shall be called the Son of God. And behold, even your relative Elizabeth has also conceived a son in her old age. And she who was called barren is now in her 6th month, for nothing will be impossible with God. And Mary said, "Behold, the servant of the Lord, I am the servant of the Lord, may it be done according to your word." And then the angel departed her. And here it goes. Now at this time, Mary arose and went in a hurry to the hill country, and she entered the house of Zacharias and Elizabeth. And when Elizabeth heard Mary's greeting, the baby leaped in her womb, and Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Spirit. And she cried out with a loud voice, "Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb. And how has it happened to me that the mother of my Lord would come to me? For behold, when the sound of your greeting reached my ears, the baby in my womb leaped for joy. And blessed is she who believed that there would be a fulfillment of what has been spoken to her by the Lord." So Mary is visited by this angel and given this announcement that she's going to have a baby, and that in fact her older relative, we're talking like, past menopause, nothing's happening down there, is also going to have a baby. And in fact, she's 6 months pregnant. So and then this great, yay, awesome. And then the angel leaves. And then what does Mary immediately do? Mary gathers her things and goes and visits Elizabeth, probably to corroborate what the angel said, see if it's true. But also, when you've had an exceptional experience, you want to go talk to somebody else who's had an exceptional experience. She went to go talk to somebody else who'd seen an angel, because I'm sure like seeing an angel, talking to an angel was very transformative. And yet then the angel leaves and she's transformed, but nothing else around her has been transformed. And when you've gone through an exceptional experience and you've been transformed and nothing around you has transformed, that can feel incredibly lonely. It can feel incredibly lonely. Right after high school, I went and lived in Europe. I've had a friend who I've known my whole life. She's my parents' age. And she invited me to come and work for this organization in France. So I lived in Strasbourg, France for a year. I went to school. I studied French. I picked up French habits, learned about all their cheeses. I developed friends. I developed other rhythms. I had a whole life in France. And then after a year, I came home. And my friends greeted me. And they were like, "How was France?" And I was like, "It changed my life. I don't really know how to talk about it." And they're like, "Oh, cool, great. Well, I'm glad you had a good time. Do you want to go see a movie?" Right? They didn't know how to talk to me about it, and neither did I know how to talk to them about it. I had had this very unique, transforming experience, and they hadn't. I know they had lived their lives, but they hadn't been transformed like I did, and it was very, very isolating, very lonely. It was only until I met other people who had actually lived overseas or traveled or these kinds of things that I could lay down the burden of my loneliness and find the solidarity in this community. This is why reunions happen. This is why like vets get together and talk about old stories. I mean, not just like soldier vets, but I'm sure animal doctors get together too and talk about their animal story. People get together who have had exceptional experiences and they share in that. I know because of this global pandemic that one of the byproducts of this is that we're all experiencing a certain kind of loneliness. And that's because of the distance that we're asked to take, the distancing, the stay-at-homeness, all of this stuff. And there's a loneliness there. But I think there's also this aspect of our loneliness, which is all of us are going through a once-in-a-lifetime global pandemic. We're all going through an exceptional experience. And the ways in which we converse and share with one another, there's some roadblocks. It's not as easy. And often our conversations are about like, I don't know, social distancing, what's going on in politics, all of this stuff. And maybe we haven't actually been able to share about how we're transforming through this whole process and how incredibly like lonely that can feel, that it seems like I'm transforming and I don't really know how everything else is. Everything kind of stays the same. And maybe one of the ways that we can give solidarity to one another is not to try to use a language of overcoming. You know, a lot of it's like, we're going to get through this. We're going to overcome this. And look, we are going to get through this. And things are going to change or go back to somewhat kind of a normal thing a while, as they were. Like we will get past this really difficult stage. But until we get there, maybe we can use our language and talk to one another as not like, how are you getting over this, past this, but what's happening to you? Like I'm in the car accident too, right? I'm being transformed by this as well. And we can share in the solidarity of going through exceptional experiences. In my late 20s, I sensed this call to become an artist. I was a high school teacher and I sensed this call to try to become like a full-time artist, whatever that meant. I wasn't quite sure, but I knew I wanted to try. So I quit teaching and I took a job waiting tables like every artist has ever. And I waited tables for a while, but after about 10 months, I couldn't get my shifts covered to do the art jobs that I was getting. And so I sensed that the next step I needed to do was like stop waiting tables and step out to do art full time. but like that seemed impossible. Like, how do you become a full-time artist? This is the question adults ask you when you say you're going to go to art school, right? How does anybody ever do it? And I knew I needed to talk to some other people who had done it. And I didn't know a lot of visual artists at the time, but I had a couple friends who were musicians, who were full-time musicians. And I went to them and I asked them, how did you make that step from part-time to full-time? And they each had their own unique journey. But the similarities they said was, I got to a spot where it seemed like the next thing I needed to do was take a leap of faith, that all the signs were there, that this is the way that I was moving. And I don't know how to tell you, but I just had to step out and try. I just had to take that leap of faith. And when I hear that, it makes me think about the Magi. So as far as we know, the Magi have always remained a mystery. Our best estimation is that they're some kind of like celebrity, stargazing, rich, wealthy priesthood from Persia who would have been aware of this prophecy of this God coming as a baby king given to them by the Israelites who were enslaved hundreds of years ago. So, and when they saw a star in the sky, which could have been a supernova or a collection of a cluster of planets like this, that's going to happen on the 21st, tomorrow, or just good old-fashioned supernatural manifestation, they saw this sign and they went on a journey. And their identity is kind of always going to remain a mystery probably, but what we get from them is two great things. We get one, a really catchy song, and then two, we get a really great example of what it means to pay attention. Like Colby was saying, paying attention to breath. They were paying attention. They were paying attention, yes, to the signs on the exterior, like the sun and the stars and the landscape, but they were also paying attention to the interior patterns that were going on in them. Like they were paying attention to how the exterior patterns illuminated the interior patterns that were already in them. Like the Magi, yes, saw a star in the sky and decided to go on a road trip. And I'm not saying that going on a road trip wasn't fun, but remember back then they didn't have an AC unit or cruise control. It was just like camel humps and driving desert heat, right? Like the deepest desire of the Magi was to know the creator of everything. They were like, who made where did all of this come from? And their deepest desire was to know that giver of life. And when they saw a sign in the sky, it illuminated that deeper desire. There was no for sure, I want to say for sureness. There was no, like, they didn't know that if they went on a journey for hundreds of miles in uncharted territory, if they knew they were going to find a king, but they trusted the process. They trusted that the signs that were on the outside that were aligning with the inside, that it would lead them to what they desired. Is it too fantastical to think that the giver of all of this and the giver of yourself would use both of those to draw you into a deeper connection? Are we not told to look at birds in the sky and plants in the ground to be the like communicators that providence is taking care of us? Are we not told that when we give food to the hungry and water to the thirsty, that when we visit the sick, when we invite the stranger in, when we go to prison and visit those and heal the sick, that all of these are ways of doing it to the King of Kings? Have you not found yourself in your own life going, it feels like someone's trying to get my attention? Feels like someone's trying to get my attention. When Mary comes to Elizabeth, Elizabeth says, how am I so favored that the mother of my Lord would come and visit me? Elizabeth had many assumptions, like, I'm never going to have kids. I'm always going to be maybe a small nobody. And here I find myself pregnant in old age. Here I find myself that my relative who's going to have the Son of God is in my living room. I didn't do anything to make this happen. It's just happening to me. Blessed is the one who believes in the impossible. Blessed is the one who believes that what God says can happen in their lives. I remember when I was going to when I was driving to work to put in my 2 weeks to stop working at this restaurant and step out in full-time artistry, that it seemed like everything in the universe was pronouncing affirmation that I was making the right thing. Even like the billboards that were advertising new home builds or travel deals were saying like, step out, take a risk, all of this stuff. Like Tom Petty's It's Time to Move On, It's Time to Get Going from his Wildflowers album was playing on the radio. Even the migrating geese in the sky were saying, hey, a change is coming. You're making the right move. The exterior patterns were pointing to the interior movements. And it was confronting my limited conclusions. It was confronting my assumptions. The antidote to assumption is surprise. It's a surprise that life comes through barren places. It's a surprise that meek nobodies partake in divine plans. It's a surprise that messengers are sent all along the hidden journey of life to let you know you're not alone. It's a surprise that you will be given everything you need to accomplish what you've been asked to do. It's a surprise that nothing can separate you from the love of God. Nothing can separate you from love. Like your assumptions, beliefs, there must be something that can. But surprise, nothing can. Nothing can separate you from love. So all kinds of problems and trip ups happen because we assume that we can be separated from love. And so if I want to give you a couple spiritual practices that you can pay attention to, like we talked about our breath, but something you can pay attention to when you find yourself in the midst of those assumptions that seem like they can keep you from knowing God, that you can find out that nothing can. I'll give you two things. One is soul and one is body. So first is soul. Somehow inside of us, there is a capacity to talk to God, talk to the divine. Maybe it's our soul, our spirit, whatever vocab word we have. We are able to talk to God. We have this kind of like doorway, this portal. We could use the metaphor of a telephone. Inside of you, you have a telephone. You can talk to God. Did somebody give you that telephone? Did you go to a store, a room, a sanctuary, and get a telephone one day? Or what happened? Did you just awaken to the fact that it was there? It had already been there. It was nothing you ever earned or asked for. It was given to you like a grace. You have a telephone that was given to you as a grace, this doorway, this way to talk to God. And then we could take that a step farther, which is interesting. Like if you have a telephone and I have a telephone and everybody has a telephone, do we need to go, and I know this is true about your community, which is great. Do we need to go around to other cultures, countries, communities and be like, hey, I need to give you a telephone? Can we put telephones inside of people? Or is our invitation to be alongside others and go, hey, do you ever answer that call? What do you talk about on that phone? Because we can ignore the phone. We can cover it up with fear and ego and the noise of life. And so there is a way that we can put down or cover up or extinguish the telephone. But it's not our job to ever give a telephone. It's maybe our alongsideness. It's our role to be alongside and go, tell me about that telephone. And then body. And this ties into the telephone. So just as we have a telephone in us, we also have a heart. Can you find your heartbeat where you're at? It's in between your chest. Maybe you can find it there, or you can find it in this artery, or even in your wrist. And if you can't find your heartbeat, well, maybe you're a zombie. But when you find your heartbeat, then this kind of goes alongside the breathing exercise. You just sit with your heartbeat. And again, did you go and get your heart? Did you go to a room, a building, a sanctuary, and pick out one? Or was it always there? It's actually always been there. It's nothing that you ever asked for. It was given to you. It is a grace. In fact, the only reason you're mortally, finitely alive right now as a biological being is because of a heart that you're not in charge of. You're only here because of something you're not in charge of. You're here and existing because of grace. Because of grace. And so we can connect with this heartbeat, this telephone, as doorways, as portals, as actual connection points to understand that there's nothing that can keep us from the love of God. There's nothing that can keep us from love. And that is an immense, immense surprise. May you realize and find joy in how much you have assumed incorrectly. And may the love and grace of God fill your life this season. Amen.
Thank you, Scott.
Yay!
Oh, what a gift you are, brother.
That.
Yeah, you're
so welcome.
Found the lane of our Sojourn heart, and you just sort of
Yeah.
drove a big gift right through it with those
Oh,
words.
I know I was talking to my people when I
Yes.
was putting this together.
Uh,
Yeah.
Your gift with language, like I know you're an artist in so many ways, but I think you sometimes don't realize how much your gift is with language. Like you talk and I'm like, why doesn't he talk more?
Oh,
He
good.
needs to talk all the time. Just stop talking. Like the telephone thing.
Well, thank
That's
you.
genius. Talk
Yeah.
on telephones for a really long time.
Yeah.
You're muted,
Oh,
baby.
I'm
He
muted.
could probably hear you from my microphone, but there, now you're
I
good.
can
You
hear
didn't hear
you.
what I was saying? Oh, okay.
Good.
Yeah, I heard you. I heard you.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
talk through there. Anyway.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Well, I'm learning, just as I had to train to paint, I'm practicing with my words, and we probably share, all of us share the same heart, is that especially if you grew up in religion, you were given a lot of definitions and certain words that these are the words we have to say all the time, and then at a certain point you go, well, maybe the words, there's a different meaning to them, or more of expansive, and so I've had to like find other language through poets and mystics and things like that. But I know this is your guys' journey as well, that our words and the images associated with our words are really important. So
Yeah,
that's
so
been
on
my
that
work.
note, can you share a little bit about what transformation means to you? Because you talked about, being in France and being transformed by that, and then you have this transformative experience, and we're all having a collective transformative experience right now. And what does that even really mean? Because we were given that word a little bit growing up, but it didn't mean the same
Yeah.
thing to me now that it did that. So what does it mean to you now?
Yeah. Wow, that's a great question, Katie. What happened to me in France, gosh, I was just like, not naive. I had traveled internationally already, but like, I remember at the end of that time going, that felt like I learned as much as I did through 12 years of school. Like meeting, like being embedded in like a completely different government system with completely different concerns and ways of working, and then meeting people who, like my first week in France, I went to a 6-hour dinner. It started at 9 p.m. It got over at 3 a.m. I didn't know, I spoke hardly any French. But like, that's totally normal. People spend 6 hours to cook Thanksgiving and then they eat it in 20 minutes and they're done. Like it's a different way of communing. And my host was just, or the friend who knew French really well, she'd be like, it would all be in French, and then she'd be like, we're talking about politics right now, blah, blah, blah. An hour later, she's like, we're talking about God right now, blah, blah, blah. Like all the things that people like, don't talk about religion, don't talk about politics. It's like, no, that's what they do. So like, there was just like a different way of learning how to be. I would say like what transformed was the way in which I saw everything. And that's what really transformed for me. And so then when I came back, and this is like the hero's journey or the myth journey that Joseph Campbell talks to, like I couldn't see the same way I did before. I came back to the context in which I came, and I had a completely different vision of what everything looked like. And that feels really lonely. And I know people in Sojourn Grace Collective have, through their experiences outwardly and inwardly, and like coming to conclusions or identities about yourself, like, and then especially during holidays, we go back home if we're even invited. And we're like, I just don't see the way I used to see. I don't know if I see anything the way that my relatives do or things like that. So that's where that loneliness, I think, comes in. Yeah.
One of the things that really stood out to me, Scott, and what you shared, and you touched on it right there, was the idea of that there's a cost to transformation. And the upside is it does sort of bring new insight and awareness and expansion of our own sort of interior dimension. And so there's a benefit to transformation, but there's a cost to that, which is sometimes paid for in loneliness. That, yes, I am willing to answer the call. So as you were talking about the Magi, I'm like, what's the cost of ignoring the signs? So you have the inner interior patterns, you called them, happening in here, and then you have these external signs outside. That the goal, I think, is what I'm hearing you say, is to allow those two to meet. But I think the fear, what I'm hearing you say, is the fear is that if I pay attention, if I follow that exterior sign, if I line up sort of my interior world with the exterior world, there's a potential cost to that, and that cost could be loneliness. And I feel like that is just putting this great language to what so many of us in our community are feeling as we've maybe answered the call to a more progressive way of looking at the world and paid a cost of loneliness. There was no question in there.
Well,
I was just reflecting back.
I think the loneliness. Well, I think the loneliness happens because everything you knew doesn't work anymore. And so then the move from loneliness to community or solidarity is then to find others who are like, oh, I that happened to me too. Because the loneliness is a bit of a myth. But where I think it's uniquely felt is that you changed, but nothing else changed. I'm in a vacation rental home right now. This isn't my bedroom, but like, I could imagine like being in my bedroom, maybe Mary was in her house or wherever she was. And then like this angel came, and then like it leaves, and she's like, I'm a different person now because I interacted with an angel. But the room didn't get redecorated. The angel didn't leave like angel charms around to be like, now you believe in angels. Like it was everything stayed the same. And I think that's what happens is like something happens to you, some kind of revelation experience, and nothing else, the outside didn't change. And so what is, I think, necessary, or what happens, is that we go on a journey to go, well, who else has had this?
Yes.
Who else has found this? We find new spaces, new people, new communities, and then we start to experience like a more open or a more enlarged way of being in the world, and we find that place to find that. Yeah, it's more of like, you just like I don't know, some people don't decorate their rooms or anything, but like I'm very much like everything in the spaces I live are symbols of my journey, like with art or trinkets or things like that. I can get really cluttery, but they all, like when you go into my art studio, it's just nothing but symbols of a story that I've been a part of. And each time I feel like something new happens, I add something new to remind myself of that expansive story. I think that's. Does this make sense to you? Do I need to keep explaining? I think you guys get it about
And I love the idea of physical things to remind us of where we've been on our journey, because I'm forgetful. That's a hard thing for me, spiritual practice wise. I forget. And one of the things that helps me so much is your goddamn Instagram account. I think I've told you this in the past, but I'm telling you again, I use that thing as my meditation app, like just your Instagram account is how I meditate. I go to it every single day. I never miss a Scott Erickson post ever. And I use it to pray and to meditate. I'm so glad that you're finally getting like actual books out in the world so that I don't have to go onto Instagram to use your art to meditate. So everybody, please check out Honest Advent. It is so good. And did you know that Morgan Harper Nichols did the foreword for this one? Oh my goodness, people.
Yeah.
She's the best.
I know.
So check that out, please, everybody, and go to Scott the Painter Instagram and do like I do, because it's a great spiritual practice. We love you.
There we go.
Love you, buddy.
Well, I love you too. Thank you, guys. It's been a great pleasure to be with you in different time zones.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for working through that.
Merry Christmas to
know the
you
pain.
and Holly and the kiddos. Love you, bud.
Thank you. Merry
Bye-bye.
Christmas to you guys too. Bye.
Oh, what a gift. We're going to continue on through song with one of my favorite non-traditional Christmas songs called Labor of Love, which I think is a reminder of the honesty of Advent, that maybe it wasn't a silent night.
It was not a silent night. There was blood on the ground. You could hear a woman cry in the alleyway that night on the streets of David's town. And the stable was not clean, and the cobblestones were cold. Little Mary, full of grace, with the tears upon her face, and her mother's hand to hold, was a labor of pain as the cold sky burned. But for the girl on the ground in the dark, every beat of her beautiful heart was a labor of love. Noble Joseph at her side, callous hands and weary eyes. Were no midwives to be found in the streets of David's town, in the middle of the night. So he held her and he prayed, shafts of moonlight on his face, but the baby in her womb, it was the maker of the moon, was the author of the faith that could make the mountains move. Labor of pain as the cold sky above. But the girl on the ground in the dark, every beat of her beautiful heart was a labor of love. Little Mary, full of grace, with the tears upon her face, was a labor of love. It was not a silent night on the streets of David's town.
Back again. Just making sure my mic is actually on because apparently I'm bad at that today. Hi. Communion, as always, whatever elements you have for
That's right.
this. And we love, love, love seeing you throw those up in the comments. It's one of my favorite things every week, seeing all the wonderful things that you people put in your mouth. You're funny. It's beautiful, but it makes us feel like we are actually together, and it's just a great time to connect.
Yeah, and I love how we all use different elements because, as we talked about before in virtual church, the elements is not the point. Today, I'm conscious of how the point is that we, as a community, have sort of all, like Scott said, we found each other. Like, you've seen an angel. You've seen like that particular angel too. Oh, you've seen that? Okay, let's do this thing together.
Yeah, we all saw the same angel. Today, we're using, I don't know if they can see it.
We're gonna make
Will
them
it
see
focus?
it. They will eventually. If
You're
we
going to hold it there until
close
it
our
lets.
eyes. Close the eyes. Ah,
Oh, it's not
what is it?
focusing.
It wants Kate's eyes.
Look, it
Block
doesn't work.
Kate's eyes. This is riveting television.
Okay, it's not working. This is sad.
It didn't
Anyway.
work.
It's unicorn cake, and so we're calling it communicorn.
Communicorn today. So,
I don't know, you guys. I just like
so
it.
did we win communion today?
I think so.
It's not a
We
competition.
win, but please keep sharing what you're using.
But tell us what you're
But we
using.
win.
We're doing communicorn.
Communicorn.
Oh, as you take what you have for your bread this morning.
Oh, you wanted cinnamon roll, though. I'll get your cinnamon roll
No,
for
I'm
you.
totally fine
Oh,
with the
you're fine with
communicorn. Yeah,
communicorn? Okay.
I'm all about it.
He's
I've
all
seen
in.
the communa angel. It didn't work. As you take what you have for your bread this morning, as it is,
Ooh, it's strawberry.
as it is
Smells like a unicorn.
this sort of tangible, earthly reminder of how the divine is in all things. As Paul said to those who were trying to wonder about the creator of the universe, Paul said, oh, God is the one in whom we live and move and have our being. And you can't live and move and have your being without this nourishment of food and drink. And so even as we take these elements this morning, it's this part of interacting with the constant movement of the God in whom we live and move and have our being. Take your bread this morning.
I'm so excited about this purple frosting. Oh, my word. Does it taste like a unicorn?
Kind of does.
That's magical. It tastes like my childhood. That's what it tastes like.
Yeah, it's surprisingly delicious.
Man, we gotta find those and give Hucko one for his birthday.
He would love that.
Where'd you get those?
And then as you take your cup this morning, how great was that? Well, you mentioned it to him, that sort of image of the telephone, that we all sort of have this capacity to talk to God, and no one gave it to us. It's just here. So we come alongside others, and we're like, oh, you
What
can
does your telephone
What's
say?
your telephone? What do you say back on your line? And so this morning, as you take the cup, which has often been used as the symbol to reconcile us with God because we were separated, but that's a faulty assumption, as Scott said. We assume that something can separate us from the divine. Nothing can separate us from the divine. May this be our reminder this morning.
Surprise! Nothing can separate you. That was my favorite moment.
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the light of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the wind
favorite things about Sojourn Grace Collective?
I do.
It's probably your least favorite.
Can't wait.
Me
You're probably
too.
not
I want to
wrong.
know.
No, I just like that we can have it. It's not focusing, is it? That's weird. We look like blurs.
It likes the back row.
Open your eye. No, that's not helping. It's just making
It
it
really
creepy.
likes the back row. I'm going to take over the center. There you go.
Well, they're gonna come
Okay.
join us, so it'll.
You were
fix.
saying
There we
your
go.
favorite
Oh,
thing,
there we
maybe
go.
my worst thing.
I just love that we can have a morning where, listen, I had my mic on every time that I wasn't supposed to today, so you heard me say things like, I'm going to eat this whole thing, and stuff like that. And then I didn't have it on when I was supposed to, any of the times I was supposed to. And there was a million other things like that, and I love that about our church, whether it's in person or virtual. We're not a production.
Yeah,
We're a gathering. We are not a production. We are a gathering.
I agree.
I didn't mean to call that your least favorite thing. I just was laughing at the
No.
idea of how much you hate the
No, you're fine. Banter for just another
Oh,
20
okay,
seconds.
banter.
You loved that so much that you left.
Yeah.
Is that Nan was singing lustily
Oh,
on
yes.
that song.
That's the way we'd always
Yes.
like to sing.
Lustily and with good courage.
Yes.
Aw.
I think it's a
I
very,
love it.
it's a Charles Wesley thing.
Yeah. We'd be gutted if she didn't sing lustily. Well,
Here we are.
This is
We
the church.
have things for you still, but we're supposed to be stalling.
you're waiting.
So here we are.
Normal.
It's Huck's birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday to Huck.
Hey guys, we got a few house notes.
Do it again. 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 Where'd it go? Where'd it go?
Okay, hold on. No, that's not going to work. You got to go back to this, and now you can do it. We got a few house notes.
Oh my God, it's so great.
Look
I
at all
want to
those
do it
people.
again. I want to do it again.
I love it. Okay. Some of you might go back and replay that. There's a few that are missing, either because you sent me the video maybe too late or I just didn't find you, but you'll get at it. So just hang tight if you don't see
It'll
yourself.
be an evolving
It'll
thing.
be, yeah, and you can add yours later. So if
Isn't it so great?
if you didn't submit one, you can just send a little video of you saying house notes and
Yeah,
I'll get it.
I
in
said
there,
people
so.
are going to see that and go, "Oh, I do want my video in there."
Yeah,
Actually,
so,
it's not too late. You can still be in there.
all right, so we got a few to offer you this morning. One, you mentioned it earlier. Go back and rewatch or watch for the first time if you missed it, the holiday special on
Yeah.
Thursday.
It was
So you can
truly
find that on
magical.
Sojourn's Facebook and YouTube page, as well as the Heathen Podcast Facebook page. But it truly was a delightful 67 minutes. I think it was my favorite 67 minutes so far in December. Yeah, so really good time. So I'm really proud of the whole team that put all that together. And so go back and watch that. Next thing I want to say is that coming up, oh yes, we've got a thank you video from Sarah, because yesterday we had our Zoom party with the Unidos por Siempre group, and Sarah wanted to say a special thank you.
Hey friends, this is Sarah. I'm the community coordinator, and I just wanted to give you a quick update about our Giving Tree fundraiser for Unidos por Siempre. Thanks to you and all of your very generous contributions, we raised $1,500 to support Unidos por Siempre. So that's $1,000 to give them presents and then $500 to contribute to food. So from the bottom of my heart, I wanted to say thank you so much for your generosity. Also, I wanted to show you a couple of photos of the Zoom Christmas party that we had today. There were several of us that joined from Sojo, and it was a really neat way to really be able to connect with our friends. So thank you to everyone that joined. Thank you to everyone that contributed money. I'm so grateful that we're able to show holiday spirit and support and connect in creative ways. Thanks again and happy holidays.
I know we all hate Zoom, but yesterday's Zoom party was literally the highlight of my year. I was just crying through the whole thing. To see our kids like excited to be on their computer talking to other humans, it was gorgeous. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Vicki
Yeah,
and
thank you,
Sarah,
thank
for
you,
helping to
thank
organize that.
you.
And thank, as Sarah said, all of you who gave throughout our Angel Tree.
Y'all are the best. $1,500 for those kids. That's
What a
amazing.
gift. What a gift. On Wednesday night, we will be doing our annual Christmas Eve service. This is what we do here at Sojourn. We don't do a Christmas Eve service. Since we started Sojourn, we knew that we wanted to save that as a family time, so we've always done a Christmas Eve service. Obviously, it's going to be virtual this year, but we still invite you to join Kate and I. We'll be in our living room in front of our tree and our fireplace and doing
Yep,
some
casual.
Christmas
We'll
hymns.
hang out
and-
with our kids, do some music, light some candles, and are we doing that?
Yes. So all of you are invited to, there'll be a Zoom room open, and the link, you should have either gotten the link in your email last week, or you'll get it again this week in an email and in the Facebook page. And then even that night, heck, I'll drop it in the comments. It'll be fine. Easy to find the Zoom link. So then at one point at the end of the evening, we can bring everybody in on a big Zoom screen to light your own individual
Yeah.
candle.
In person, we light a candle, and then everybody lights each other's candles, and it's this gorgeous time of being together. And so we're going to try to do that virtually.
It's going to work. So that's Wednesday at 7 p.m. We look forward to being with you for that. And a reminder that we will not be having virtual service a week from today. So
Isn't that beautiful?
on December 27th,
My other favorite
there will
thing
be
about
no
Sojourn
virtual
Grace
church
life.
service. And we'll see you. This is our last. We'll see you in 2021. I mean, I guess we'll see you Wednesday, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Heathen happy
Oh, yeah.
hour still
Thursday is
happens.
Christmas Eve.
You need Christmas Eve community.
Go to the Heathen podcast page. Okay. Once again, special thanks to Scott for joining us this morning and for blessing our community with your wisdom and your love. And this is our benediction that we say at the end of every gathering. And it is an invitation for us to go into our weeks with bravery in our hearts because we are loved children of God. And surprise, nothing can change that. And also, maybe sometimes more of a surprise, everyone else is also a loved child of God. So be kind, would you? Someone want to lead us this morning?
Be brave
Because you're a child of God,
and be kind.
because
so
so
is
is
everyone
everyone
else.
else. Love ya. Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.
Happy it's almost 20.